Hi there, welcome to Becoming Aware of Angels. Welcome back. This is session number 5, and we're going to be talking about keeping watch. And we're actually going to investigate the Watchers and just who are the Watchers. I want to welcome you back to this series. It's a series where I'm discussing angels, their existence, where they are, what do they do, what are their purposes, and what are their movements, and eventually we're going to be talking about how to see angels, because I believe we all should be seeing angels and how we'll see them. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So this session is about keeping watch, and it's part 1. I'm going to do part 2 later on, but because it's there's a lot to watchers and to the basics of watchers. And you're going to hear me after this use that term every once in a while, and I want you to understand when I use that term, a question needs to be asked. Are we talking holy watchers? Are we talking unholy watchers? Are we talking about mankind, the mankind watchers? Okay, so there's 3 kinds. There's 3 major groups there. Okay, so if we look at Enoch, the book of Enoch, Enoch himself saw watchers, and the book of Enoch has a lot of references to, and a lot of teaching that is available to us on the watchers, who they are, and majorly the two major kinds, I should say, the holy watchers and the unholy watchers. Okay, then but there are also watchers on the walls. Okay, those are intercessors. Those are human, and generally speaking, they're human. And so you have holy watchers and unholy watchers, and you've got watchers on the wall. All right, so we're going to look at all 3 of them and see the difference between them and the likenesses as well. Okay, Daniel 4:17 says this. This is in our Bibles, Daniel 4:17, and I'm using the New King James Version here because it's a popular one. It's probably one of the most popular. This decision is by the decree of the watchers. Notice the word watchers there. It's not often used in a straightforward way like this, but in Daniel 4 it says, "This decision is by the decree of the watchers, and the sentence by the word of the holy ones." Aha! We see in context that these are holy watchers, in order that the living may know that the Most High, that's Elyon, rules in the kingdom of men, gives it over to whomever he will, and sets over it the lowest of men. Isn't that interesting? Now, these watchers are compared both to the Most High, Elyon, and men, and the difference between a man who thinks more highly of himself than he ought to think, and a humble man. All right, in Daniel 4:23, which is just a couple of verses down, and Daniel is interpreting the same, is actually Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and he says, quote, "And inasmuch as the king saw a watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven and saying, 'Chop down the tree and destroy it, and leave its stump and roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze in a tender grass of the field. Let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let him graze with the beasts of the field till 7 times pass over him.'" And he translates that, Daniel translates that as 7 years. And that's Daniel 4:23 in the New King James Version. All right, so that's holy watchers. There's another time in with holy watchers in the book of First Enoch, chapter 14, verse 1. It says this: "This book is the word of righteousness and the reprimand of the eternal watchers, in accordance with the commandment of the Holy One, the Great One, in that vision." Okay, so we're talking. There's some basic principles here I'll go back and explain, but we're talking first about holy watchers. These holy watchers have are watching, and meaning they're taking care of. They're keeping a watchful eyes over and watching something, watching for something, watching to protect, or watching for something that is expected. But they also have this authority, which somewhere between watching and authority, there's a missing piece there. And let me see if I can explain it to you. It's really found in that second verse that in Daniel that I just read to you. Inasmuch as the king saw a watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven and saying, "Chop down the tree and destroy it," and that is the authority that the watcher has, and is saying it as if from themselves. But then the first verse that I gave you in Daniel says this decision is by decree of the watchers, and the sentence is sentence by the word of the holy ones, in order that the living may know that Most High, Elyon, rules in the kingdom of men. So we have this principle of holy ones having great authority, but they get their authority straight from the Holy One. And then Enoch says this book is the word of righteousness, and it's a reprimand of the eternal watchers in accordance with the command. Now, this is a holy one reprimanding the unholy watchers. All right. Then we have in Jeremiah 4:16, in the Tanakh, it says, "Tell the nations, here they are, announce concerning Jerusalem. Watchers are coming in from a distant land, and they raise their voices against the towns of Judah." All right, now let me see if I can explain this a little bit better, okay? If we look at the word watchers in Daniel 14, the Hebrew word there is ir, and it has a yod in it, a silent letter, a yod, which gives it a y sound, and it's almost pronounced, not quite, but it's almost pronounced like the word year, okay, year, and that's not what it means. I'm just saying that's how you pronounce it. Okay, this scripture is spiritual language and can be translated a lot of ways. Okay, so you're going to find in different translation it translated a little bit different from place to place, but in general, this speaks of heavenly protocols describing the culture of heaven and how it's negotiated. Okay, the word meaning how are things negotiated in heaven. In general, we also see this word translated as a word that means yir means to stand. Is very hard to put into a few English terms because it comes as a story. It's one that stands in a dark place. I'm talking literally, the word stands in a darker place, listening to with a tuned ear, listening intently to Jehovah to see what he will say, and then delivering what Jehovah says with the authority of Jehovah. Okay, so the watcher is there as as one who stands looking and watching and keeping. And another aspect of it is wakeful. There's an awakening that is in them. They're standing awake, yes, but the word has motion to it. So there's an awakening that they're anointed in, these watchers. And so, as difficult as it sounds, that I'm making it sound, it is difficult to realize that word watchers and its applications, and we find that it's like that, either positive or negative. Those the principle, the word is the same, and it's the outcome that tells you whether it's good or bad. You know what I mean? Okay, so this word it comes to us in as kind of a story. All right, so what we have is good watchers or holy watchers, and we've got unholy watchers. In Jubilees chapter 10, I'm just going to read a little bit of it here. I'm going to find some a piece of it. Noah is praying for his son's sons, and we'll actually in the next session we'll talk a little bit more from this. And you know how watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. This is Noah praying and talking to Jehovah. And you know how watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. Now, what he's referring to there is Genesis chapter 6, verses 1, 2, 3. There, when the sons of God looked down upon the daughters of man, okay? And you know that story there. If you don't, go to Genesis chapter 6 and read the first few verses there. All right? These are called watchers at that point. These watchers are the fathers of these spirits. These spirits are Nephilim. And he says, you know how they acted in my day, and as for these spirits which are living, imprison them and hold them fast in a place of condemnation. Now that's Noah's prayer to Jehovah in that case. And then the chief of these spirits says, his name is Mastemi, came and said, Lord Creator, let some of them remain before me, and let them hearken to my voice. Okay, so he is now interceding for himself and for his arrogant position before Jehovah. And again, we'll see some more about all that's said there later on. What I wanted to show you here is that there's activity of these watchers, and they're in the spirit realm. There are holy ones, and there are unholy ones. And in part 2 of this keeping watch session, this is part 1, and there'll be a part 2. We're going to talk about the watchman on the wall, and we're going to look at Gethsemane, and we're going to see the apostles and Jesus' direction to them as watchers. And so, but before we get there, we kind of need to know that there are watchers in the spirit realm. They are angels. They're called watchers as a description. And not all angels are watchers, but all watchers are angels, except for the mankind. All right, so now we know that we've got watchers, we've got holy ones, and we've got unholy ones. If you begin to do your studies in the scripture and in the history books, you're going to find more said about those watchers than probably you ever thought. All right, so with that, we'll end this session with some I guess the basic input here is there are watchers, but you're going to have to watch and see whether they're holy or unholy. All right, see you in the next session.